In today's video, I'm going to take you inside the mind of a struggling high performer so you can understand what is getting in your way and more specifically how to break through. So if you are an overwhelmed high performer and you just feel like right now you're frustrated because you're not living up to your potential, then this is going to be an excellent video for you to fully understand the transformation and what is going on. So my name is Mario Minner. I'm a performance coach and I specialize in helping high performers who are overwhelmed in their careers implement a system to help them become their best. And what we're going to start with is something called a user empathy map. So let's get into it. If you are listening to the audio version of this, this would be a great episode to head to the YouTube to actually see the visuals that I'm talking about here, because this is a user empathy map. So what you have is you have the user, you have the individual in the middle, and then all around the user is a quadrant. And in the top left is says, top right is thinks, bottom left is does, and then bottom right is feels. So this is an exercise that a lot of designers and design thinking enthusiasts use to better understand a user of a product or a client. Now, I actually have a background. I worked for 10 years in an ed tech startup, and I was working as a product manager, leading the design and the development of mobile apps. And so I'm very familiar with how to develop empathy for a user. And this is an exercise that we would do to really understand what is somebody going through and how are they seeing the world. And I thought that this would be a good exercise for me to do as I'm working with high performers, and specifically high performers who are stressed and overwhelmed with their performance right now and just feeling like they are not living up to their potential. So this is what I would classify as the user empathy map for a high performer who right now is just struggling. So in the top left, this is says. These are the things that this person would say. And this is where if you're in this place, you're probably saying things like, I want to become the best version of myself, but I'm not really sure how to do that. You might say things like, I'm not living up to my potential. You might say something like, I don't even have any systems to help me with my personal or professional goals. You might even say something like, it's been a while since I've been firing on all cylinders, because a lot of what I talk about here is when you've been at your best, like what are you doing to help you fire on all cylinders? These are some of the things that you might be saying right now. Now, what are some of the things that you might be thinking? You might be thinking, well, like, what's wrong with me? You might be saying, I feel like there's a block, but I don't know what it is. You might be thinking, like, it hasn't always been like this, because I've had years in the past or months in the past where I have been a high performer and I've just been feeling confident and been feeling like my best, but I'm not there right now. And because you're not doing as well as you'd like in your career, you might be even thinking things like, if I'm not doing well at work, then like, what am I even good for? Like, a lot of high performers struggle with putting so much of their self-worth and their identity into what we do as careers. And when that's not going as well as you'd like, you might even feel or think that you're just not really living up to your potential. And you're even thinking, like, as you're looking around and you're seeing other people around you, maybe in the same environment, or maybe you're comparing yourself to somebody on social media, which is super easy to do. You might be thinking, why is it so easy for everyone else around me to succeed? And that's what you're maybe saying. That's what you're thinking. So what does this do to your actions? You're probably procrastinating. You're probably distracted because you're just not feeling like you are at your best. You might even be taking this stress out on food. You might be eating emotionally. You might be avoiding professional situations that might make you uncomfortable, even though you feel like they would be beneficial for you. You might not be making as many calls as you maybe would like to be when it comes to sales. You may not be putting yourself in positions where going out and traveling to conferences, or you might even be heading into the office if you have the opportunity. You're kind of trying to protect yourself and play it safe. You might even read a lot of books, or you might listen to a lot of audiobooks and listen to a lot of podcasts, but you're not implementing anything because you're doubting yourself. And all of this is leading to you just not really feeling like you have the answers. So you might even be praying about it, trying to get out of your rut. You might be praying to God to like just help you like find something and find something that can click to get you out of it. And then feeling in the bottom right. How is this all making you feel? You're definitely stressed on Sunday nights. You're stressed on Monday mornings when you get into the work week. You might even feel like a failure. You might feel like you're disappointed in yourself. You might not be confident in yourself, and just feeling like a deer, just the deer like stuck in headlights, where it's just like you're frozen and you just don't really know what to do. This is inside the mind of a high performer who's struggling. This is what you're probably saying, you're thinking, you're doing, and this is what you might be feeling. And if I'm like checking some of these boxes and making you feel seen and heard, that's because these are all things that I have said. These are all things that I have thought. These are all things that I've done. And these are all things that I personally have felt. So I've been there, and I 100% understand where you're at. And so if this is where you're at, how do you break through, and how do you get out of this plateau? How do you get out of this rut? That's where we go into a kind of like a 3-step exercise to help you break out of this rut. And I have shared this before on this channel and on the podcast, but one of my favorite exercises to do with new clients and with individuals who are struggling, to help them break through a plateau or get out of a rut, is to ask them this question. When you've been at your best, what are the 3 to 5 habits that help you function at your best? Like when you've been just absolutely firing on all cylinders, what are those things that you're consistently doing on a daily or a weekly basis? You might need to go back to a time when it might have been a year ago. It might have been 2 years ago. It might have been 3 years ago. It might have been 5 years ago. I don't know when it was last for you that you felt like you were just on fire and you were clicking. But go back to that place, like close your eyes, really try and reflect, like what were those things that you were consistently doing? And then you might come up with 3 habits. You might come up with 5 habits. You might even come up with more than that. But what you want to do is next, over the past 60 to 90 days, rate yourself. How have you been doing on those key habits? And you're going to want to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. So if, let's say, one of your key habits over, like when you've been at your best, is you're eating healthy, you're eating clean. Over the past 60 to 90 days, on a scale of 1 to 10, what are you at? If another one of your habits is just exercise, rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 over the past, 2 to 3 months. What have you been doing? When it comes to just like prioritizing the most important things at work, when it comes to having a consistent quality morning routine, when it comes to an evening routine, whatever your habits are, how have you been doing on those? And this rating that you have initially is just a baseline for you, because you really just want to get real with yourself and understand, how have you actually been doing? And don't lie to yourself. Don't feel bad about it. This is just a baseline. This is a check. And once you have listed out those 3 to 5 habits, you've rated yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, what you want to do is you want to start to implement these habits immediately into your routine and start tracking those this week. I've used an app called Habit Share. I share this with a lot of my clients. It is the most effective way to just consistently get back into your best. And what you want to do is start to implement those habits. And I guarantee you, if you take the time to go through the most important, or the habits that help you function at your best, and if you start to track those, you're going to go through this transformation and you're going to end up in a much better place than you were at the beginning. And so then what I like to do is, like, let's pull up this user empathy map again, and let's go through, if you track those habits, you start implementing them, how is your mindset in your world going to change? What are some of the things that you're going to be saying to yourself? You're probably going to be saying, like, I'm finally living up to my potential. I have the systems to become my best. It feels good to fire on all cylinders, and I want to become the best version of myself. These are some of the things that you're going to be saying to yourself. How is this going to help you in terms of your thoughts? You're basically going to start to tell yourself, like, well, nothing is wrong with me. I'm building the right skills. You're going to start to think, like, it feels so good to finally be able to work around these mental blocks that I have. You're going to start to say, like, when you see other people succeeding around you, you're going to start to celebrate them and acknowledge them. And you're going to say, if they can do well, then that means that I can do well at the same time. So your mindset and the things that you're saying, the things that you're thinking to yourself is going to completely change. You're going to avoid the emotional eating. You're going to avoid the procrastination. You're going to be super focused and locked in. You're going to embrace and seek out situations that will make you uncomfortable because you know that they're going to help you personally and professionally. You're probably going to listen to and read fewer books and fewer podcasts, but you're going to implement more. You're probably in those prayer time and that quality time, you're probably going to be practicing gratitude and just thanking God for helping you make this transition. And ultimately, how are you going to feel? You're going to feel calm on Sunday nights. You're going to feel calm on Monday mornings. You're going to feel like you're making progress every day. You're going to feel like you're confident in yourself again. And you're going to feel like you have momentum, because momentum is such a powerful thing. When you start to consistently do the things that help you feel your best, it's inevitable, if you're consistent, that you're going to feel momentum. And so I wanted to do this episode to kind of go inside the mindset of a struggling high performer, to just connect with you and just say, like, this is where I've been. And I totally get it. And I also just wanted to say, like, this is the type of transformation that I help people make. I have gone through this process myself. I have implemented a system that helps me think and feel and perform at my best. And that's exactly what I do. And so if you are a high performer and you're struggling, you're overwhelmed with your stressful competitive job, if you're looking for something to help you level up personally and professionally, then let's set up a call where we can kind of set something up like this that's a lot more personalized to you. Because now is the time. Like, this is the time where a lot of people are probably going to sit back and relax, but the ones who take action are the ones that are going to separate themselves. And I know that if you're listening to this podcast, you're the type of person that wants to become your best, and you're an action taker. And so go ahead and book a call, and let's have a conversation about what this could look like for you. And that is what I have for today. And I really hope that regardless of where you're at, you take the time to go through this exercise and understand the type of transformation that can happen when you consistently perform the habits that help you become your best. Until next time, talk to y'all later.